Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And Jacob Wild, too.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we find ourselves on the cusp of Disney's big venture into the world of streaming, even courting a war in the process, we thought it'd be nice to stay up to date on the ever-growing catalog and rule on what's a must or a bust on Disney Plus. And tonight, we are talking Monsters at Work, the big Wazowskis. Dragon, I'm going to tell you right now why I thought that this character was Mike's brother. It's because there were multiple Wazowskis in the title. I just deduced that based on the title. But no, so we have Mike versus a rival that looks like it could be a family member, but it's not, I guess. It's just kind of a... just another guy who's of Mike's design, and this is a liar revealed story. But I got to admit, it's as far as liar revealed stories go, I thought it was good. We can kind of continue to build up the new characters, and I'm slowly but surely starting to come around on some of them. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I thought this was it's definitely an improvement from last episode. This episode, I feel, has a lot of Monsters University and a lot of that kind of Dan Scanlon, moral of dealing with limitations and honesty, and I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I really liked it too. I thought Gabriel Iglesias did a good job as Gary. You could tell he was definitely having fun with the character as well. And he seems like I honestly hope he appears a bit more because he seems like it'd be an interesting foil to Mike.
It's kind of like Mike Squilliam.
Yeah, pretty much. One could say, much like Ash Ketchum, Mike Wazowski has a different colored version of his own avatar.
Oh, dear God, you're right. It is. Oh, it is like Gary, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Like, imagine him wearing underwear. Oh no, he's hot.
I also just want to I think throughout the episodes, it's been a running thing. As much as I am liking the new characters and the arcs and everything, and I think that's all being set up well. Just the icing on the top of the cake of this is Billy Crystal.
Well, it's always been so far for 4 episodes, but yeah,
of course. But it's so good to have Billy Crystal back on a regular basis. I'm just every time Mike's on screen, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah,
Sully was barely even in this episode.
You know what's great though? While we had minimal Sully, he had the very great meta moment of naming the team the Big Wazowskis, of course, in reference to the Big Lebowski.
Right.
Which, funny enough, also had Randall's voice actor in it.
Yes, you're right. That's a good connection. I didn't even think about that.
So yeah.
Before we go any further, because we're kind of talking up some Gary here, there's a little fun. Well, there's a little I can't call it a fun fact. It's kind of a bittersweet, somber fact I should share about Gary. So Gary, apparently the character's full name is Gary Gibbs. Now, Gary Gibbs is a tribute to, I believe he was a storyboard artist. At the very least, he was in the story department a lot, in the art department at Pixar. Rob Gibbs. Now, Rob Gibbs...
His daughter was Mary Gibbs, the voice of Boo.
Yes. Yes, Mary, and of course, Boo's name is also Mary, ergo, it's, there's a little name tribute thing in there, too. But yeah, so sadly, I had no idea. I don't know if I knew about it and I forgot about it or what, because, the crazy year that we've had. Rob Gibbs passed away last year during the not of the pandemic, but just around the pandemic. It's really, really sad. So again, kind of like all these really kind of heartwarming little on the download tributes in Monsters at Work so far. Again, with Dan Gerson and with Rob Gibbs here. It's really, really sweet.
Right. I didn't mind not having a lot of Sully because honestly, I feel like Billy Crystal is much more in the groove as Mike than John Goodman is as Sully so far.
Well, I think we had we kind of put Sully in a difficult kind of position character-wise last episode. Now we didn't quite know what we were doing with him, so I think that may have been. I don't know. I think Sully so far has been at his best in the first episode.
I agree. Yeah. But let's talk about something that really just absolutely landed. Like I find this episode is like easily the best implementation of Rose so far.
Yes, something with Rose I want to highlight too, and this feeds into the Gary of it all as well. I love one in the world building, which so far has been one of our favorite aspects of the show in general, along with the Billy Crystal return of it all. Has been Mike. He just can't compete in the bowl-off-a-thon because now instead of submitting paperwork, because he's the boss now, he has to approve paperwork, which is a genius idea. He's still sidle with the paperwork anyway. So enter Gary, who basically is the apple of Rose's eye.
Yeah, this was a genius idea. Just having someone that's exactly like Mike, who Rose just loves.
And already that in itself is funny, but it also calls out a potential limitation of the series. And again, I love that we're kind of like, again, in that Monsters University route, we're symbolically kind of working with limitations, but also addressing the limitations of the show, in which we have to reuse character designs a lot of the times in animation, especially if we're working on a TV budget. In this case, we call out that, Rose, a lot like Roz here, and we're just call it, man, Rose is so ridiculously similar to Roz, and like, we kind of mock it by, there's this character incredibly and ridiculously similar to Mike Wazowski.
I still think there's going to be some sort of reveal with Rose that she's like Roz all along or something. I don't know,
but we'll.
If you notice, she has a slightly different inflection than Roz does.
Yeah.
So,
my favorite moment with her was just her laughing at Gary telling the embarrassing story about Mike.
Yep. Don't you worry your pretty round head. No one reads the paperwork anyway. Just while Mike's standing there, just like has a sidle with all this.
It's like a massive double standard.
It's hilarious. So that's great.
I mean, technically, Mike's kind of her boss at that point.
I know, which is hilarious. So also, speaking of which, I like that we're getting comedians in this show big time, and kind of these comedic actors. And for example, Gabriel Iglesias, putting him in the role of Gary is a kind of really cool way to do that.
I've actually watched quite a bit of Gabriel Iglesias' stuff. He's actually quite funny, but I'm surprised that it's kind of interesting that they didn't rely on either his food humor or his or the fact that or the fluffy humor of it all.
I'm drawing a blank at the moment, but I'm pretty sure Iglesias, I think he might have been in Coco as one of the mariachis, but I can't.
Sounds right.
I'm pretty sure, but I can't say 100% right now. So the point is that he might not be a stranger working with Pixar, which is cool. It's good to have some returning players. Like we have a Bonnie Hunt, for example, as in the show. All right.
Yeah.
So speaking to the liar reveal, kind of up it all. So our main, I really like how we interweave our two plot lines here. They're very easily connectable. Okay, so the bowl-off-a-thon is going on, and Mike needs a team. Who's our team? The Mifters.
Well, of course. I mean, he has to sponsor a team since he can't participate himself.
Exactly, for ridiculous reasons, but we'll go along with it because it gives us a premise.
Yes.
So Tyler's trying to impress Mike with the Mifter bowling team, which is just kind of a classic comedy premise. It feels very on brand for Pixar, going back to the days of A Bug's Life, with the Seventh Samurai of it all. We got warriors like you've never seen before. They stink.
I've really never seen them before. They've never. It's like what about the nicknames? Yeah, we stink.
Yeah. No splits. I just love the nicknames. No splits, Fritz. Pin Pal Val, and no gutter cutter.
Well, but I mean, she really doesn't stay in the gutter. She puts it in the wall.
Yeah.
And I think about it, though, isn't this the first episode where she doesn't mention somebody dying?
I think so, yeah.
Funnily enough,
maybe not. I think she did.
Yeah, she mentioned at least one last week.
Then yeah. So far, it's the first one, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm surprised she didn't mention we haven't seen him since he got caught in the gutter or something like that.
Of course, we have Duncan with the snotchos, which are disgusting. But I can get more on board with the snotchos than I can with the smell thing. So
And yeah, I'm not
But
gonna
at least
lie. I think the team is coming together better than they were. I'm really starting to like them individually.
Oh, we got Claude in the comments here. Good old Claude Goringa saying, I'm calling it now. Mike and Gary are secretly related.
Well, Claude, I really did think that to be the case, just because, like I said, when I saw the episode title and it was like the big Wazowskis, I was like, oh, okay, so it's like two Wazowskis bullying off against each other. Like, I don't know, I stupidly just assumed that. So
I mean, I'll admit, when I first saw my mind instantly went to Monsters Laugh Floor, where you have one of the comedy monsters is Mike Wazowski's relative, like a shorter, smaller version of him, either like a nephew or a cousin.
right.
Like, yeah. Oh, and also it's like, what an egomaniac naming the team after himself. Like next up, the big Wazowskis. Now that's an original name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was originally Scripomus Verdetacrum, but you know.
Yes, he's allowed to say that. I'm not even going to try and begin to pronounce that because I don't remember.
Right. I love that. I love that because of his promotion, he's not banned from Harryhausen's anymore, which is cool. Which basically sets up the stakes of dinner for two at Harryhausen's.
I love how attached to the dinner for two at Harryhausen's thing he is.
He's not even banned anymore. It doesn't really matter.
It's like it's a very obtainable goal. It's almost kind of like the Vespa from Luca.
Exactly.
Like
And-
sometimes that's all we need, just dinner for two at Harryhausen's.
And you drive there on a Vespa. I mean, heck, it's a very special place to him apparently, and if he can go there, why not try and get there for free?
Have you guys
No.
seen the fan poster of Loki mixed with Luca?
What?
Yes.
No,
Yes, I have.
I have not. I saw the Loki. I mean,
It's basically if I remember the same one. It's Loki and Sylvie, and riding a jet ski with Mobius.
oh my god, that I hope
Yeah,
that-
Loki and Sylvie are Luca and
Alberto.
sorry,
Alberto.
no, Julia.
Oh, Julia. Oh, there you go.
Sylvie's Julia, and then Alberto is Mobius, and he's at the front of the jet ski.
Huh.
It's hilarious.
It's on brand. I guess I wondered, does that make Hunter B15 Massimo?
I maybe.
And who would Bruno be? It's Stupido Bruno.
There was no Bruno, Jacob. It's Silencio Bruno. It's
Miss
just,
Minutes is Bruno.
I know it's Silencio Bruno. It's like, you know what I mean anyway.
right. Okay. What was I? Oh, yet again, Henry Winkler. I think he kind of steals.
I think this is Henry Winkler's best episode so far.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of nice giving a classic sitcom-y premise that Henry Winkler is again kind of very much kind of patented through his many years of Happy Days, and I think the best line the whole episode for me is cracks me up to no end. Is we can be your family that lives next door, little weird, but the family tell sorry, but you tell when you're going on a vacation so they can get your male family.
Yeah. That's funny.
I mean, you know what? I like that he's got his expectations shifted to that level now. It's like,
Yeah.
he doesn't think that Tyler is just instantly going to be like the son figure he never had. But, he still wants to be in some ways associated with him, so.
It's a very attainable goal.
Exactly.
He's not like trying to be overly forceful or creepy about it.
No.
Right. And honestly, I thought in the first couple episodes he was kind of sort of veering on that territory.
So I love that this episode does not take, while we are doing a liar reveal story, it's not taking the obvious ways of getting there. For example,
I think it's an effective liar reveal just because the moment, just to skip ahead, because honestly, I feel like a lot of this episode is just kind of like sitcom tropes. I don't really feel like we need to break down each individual scene.
Well, no, but there's a subversion I wanted to highlight, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm sorry. Go into the subversion then. That's fine.
Well, I just want to hit. I love that we have like the kind of the tiers getting to the big matchup. We had like the initial two preliminary rounds in which we just kind of lucked
Where
out
they
in terms of
basically
winning.
just trip ass backwards into the wind, Shaggy
Exactly.
movie style.
I was so happy with the return of the Slug from Monsters University, who basically he went to roll the ball and he got a strike, if I recall, and it just took him.
Oh my
He
god,
just
that
timed out.
was
It took
great.
him a
That was
day.
great. Yeah.
So
And then we
basically,
knock out the pin monsters. It's hilarious.
so basically each time the big Wazowskis won by default.
And I loved it. That's what I'm saying. That's a great subversion of it's just like it explains how we get from point A to point B with them
Like
stinking.
by all means, this is not an episode about like a team of like ragtags coming together to beat the other players. It's a team of people who sucking their way to victory.
And again, there's like kind of that Monsters University Scanlan kind of logic applied to this episode that I'm loving.
And they even use like their sucky talents to even get better.
I know,
Exactly.
which again, very much kind of a very successory kind of way of doing the third act of MU, which is nice.
It's like they don't even improve their techniques; they just apply them differently.
And again, it's Tyler kind of showing some leadership and some thinking of like, okay, I can't fix him, but I can, if I just tweak him a little bit, it'll work.
And it's kind of just interesting. Like we want to talk about like what happens with Duncan and everything. Like how Duncan was trying to like you want to win, right? And it's like he was trying to hide that it's not him and everything. It's like spooky voice.
Yeah, Duncan continues to be one of my favorites, man. I really like how like on the surface he's just completely non-threatening, and he's just kind of like that coworker you have to deal with, where it's like, yeah, like he doesn't even really bother you that much. He's just kind of like a thorn in the side.
But you also kind of don't want him to be in charge.
Right, yeah.
Now, I do love the fact that I just think it's so ridiculous. I love this gag so much that Duncan's big ask was, he wants to put in writing that he does not want Fritz's job, which is just explained profusely to him since the beginning. It's like, I told you, Duncan, I don't want the job. I never wanted the job, but put it in writing, and he signed it.
Yeah, I
now,
like
here's
how
a question.
enthusiastic Duncan is. Like, again, what I like about Duncan is that he is like the Machiavellian villain of his own story, but
he's not great at the
anyone
Machiavellian
else's
stuff.
story.
Yeah, and he's not great at the Machiavellian flair. What we see with Smitty and Needleman. But we reserved the room. Yeah, you're supposed to be in here at a certain time, and just keep turning the lights off. It's real funny.
But we were supposed to have Fight Club. What are you doing?
No, Fright
Did you
Club.
forget the first rule?
Did you do the first rule of Fright Club?
Oh, it's Fight Club. That makes sense. That's funny.
Yeah. But again, they're not supposed to be scaring anymore. So
Right.
anyway, so
Makes it one way. I mean, too bad we can never find out what Fright Club is because they can't talk about it.
yeah. Now I do wonder though. Let me ask you guys this. So Duncan's Duncan does play a role possibly in the lie reveal itself. Then again, it was always inevitable that it was going to happen. But I do wonder. Does Duncan sabotage him intentionally there, or was it like, I'm not going to lie for you, where basically he's just there when they all show up and they discover the truth? Like, did he lead him there, or was he just waiting? I
almost feel like he led them there.
Because again, that wasn't part of the deal. Ergo, there's nothing saying I can't lead him there.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
he found them he came through with them with the monsters that could actually bowl. So I mean, he fulfilled his end.
By the way, I like that the monsters that could actually bowl were basically real life biker gangs, and the fact that they have super tough exteriors but rock solid morals.
I love that they won't abide Tyler's disloyalty here and they leave. We had our ace in the hole and they're gone.
It's like we won't bowl for somebody who won't stand by their team. We're out of here.
All right, a couple comments from Claude here. He says he wants to meet Sully's rival now if he has one.
We got to name him Johnson. Because that was Sully's original name when they were developing Monsters, Inc.
Let's see. Duncan is my favorite of the new characters. I'll agree to that. I like Cutter a lot too. I just think Duncan has a little bit more dimension to him. And fun fact, Duncan shares the same voice of Noodle Burger Boy from Big Hero 6.
Very cool. I didn't know that. It's cool.
Lucas and that.
All right. What else do we need to hit?
All right, let's see. Okay, let's see. We already kind of covered the team spirit angle here, where we kind of educate Tyler in in kind of like you gotta trust in your team and everything. Basically it's the old dance with the one that brung you lesson.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so it brings as leadership, which again I think I don't know, Tiki. I keep going back and forth on like if you're kind of prediction of how things are going to go, which again is not like an earth-shattering prediction, but the fact that he's probably going to end up kind of overseeing Mifters full time. He's probably going to end up with Fritz's job, given how much with the Duncan stuff that we built up.
I mean, I don't know. I think it could go any number of ways. I think at the very least, I'm predicting that he's not going to become a jokester and he's going to stay with them. I mean, I think that's pretty predictable. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know. This episode indicates that might be happening, but then again, I'm not going to try and predict that, just given the fact there's very much a Monsters University kind of vibe to this episode, just in general, like a possibility that the whole mailroom thing we call out in the first episode, things could go in a different route. The last thing to talk about would be the ending, basically the whole. So remember, I'm sorry, before we talk about the the big punchline at the end and the post cred kind of comedy class thing.
Yeah.
We keep upscaling the bet. You have to do all the paperwork for a month, and you have to be my butler.
Oh God.
So they ended up tying, which I really like the observation of. Yeah, none of them really lost a frame. Ergo, they would be tied logically. So they broke even. Then leads to the excellent question: who gets the dinner for two?
This was a great punchline.
Like I think I'll have this, and then what do you want, Gary?
Great. Oh, so by the way, Honeybee is in the comments earlier. She said Gary is a Chad. Now, of course, this does bring to mind with the Ash Ketchum Gary of it all. Very much brings to mind from what is it, the Ash Ketchum grown up, or the Ash Ketchum?
Ash Ketchum in real life, I think.
Yeah, real life. I think that's it. Anyway, so it's the whole Chad.
She said, "Leave her alone, Chad."
There's always a Chad. There's always a rival. There's always that guy, Chad. There's always anyway. Chad's just kind of like
the only Chad we like is Chad Michael Murray.
Yeah, pretty much. And even him though, that's kind of a Chad arc though. It kind of starts off like that Chad.
Yeah. You're right.
In a sense, obviously the character's name is Chad, but just going with it.
All right.
Anyway, so the comedy class thing. This is kind of good, and I think this is the back door for Gary's return. By the way, I think it's a really operative thing for Gary's return, as with the rival angle is we're dealing with hecklers. Which initially I questioned the logic of really, would the kids heckle him? But yeah, kids would heckle him if they're not impressed, depending on how old they are too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I honestly I thought if you guys do I know Channel Awesome is kind of a tainted name nowadays. I get that, but I still watch some of their stuff. Especially I think the non-nostalgia critic stuff they're doing is pretty decent, like Doug Walker's Dark Tunes and I like the pitches they've been doing, especially. And the pitch for a Monsters Inc. with a flash forward, like a Monsters Inc. sequel, had a lot of interesting elements to it. I already talked about Boo being a child psychologist, but also they kind of pitched the idea of what if there was sort of what if monsters were just kind of like a joke to kids of the new generation and they kind of rebelled against them.
Yeah.
All right, it's at this point with technology and stuff, it's monsters are just they're essentially not even impressive anymore. It's I don't know.
Yeah, I remember it was really sadistic too, like the kids attacking the monsters and everything too.
Right, yeah.
All right, so Claudia has his comment here, says, imagine Duncan and Randall interacting.
I want to see Randall. What's the status on Randall? Remind me. It's been a minute since I watched the first movie.
He's in the human world.
Yeah, he was thrown to Louisiana and got beaten because he was mistaken for a gator.
I mean, I hope he's alive, but I mean, I mean, I thought he was a gator.
And another gator. Give me that shovel.
So I'm pulling for him. I doubt he's going to come back though.
And Water News is arrested, so we're probably not going to see him.
Unless we do kind of a dramatic kind of Big Hero 6 or
that's what I'm rooting for with Water News.
I want that. I want a scene between, but again, we'd have to recast him.
Wasn't Kelsey Grammer going to play him in University at one
that
point?
there were talks of him, and I could absolutely see him in that role. That's the way I want to do Water News, honestly. And you bring that up. Yes, there were talks of him, and they went with just the photograph instead.
Which was ultimately a better choice. I mean, not that Kelsey Grammer was bad, but Water News really didn't have a place in the story.
Certainly. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I really want that interaction so bad because I was always enamored with Water News kind of calling out Sullivan, it's not so easy being the boss, is it? This would be the perfect time to do that.
A good way to do that would be like a nightmare or something.
Well, yeah, it could work too.
It'd be kind of interesting to explore monsters having nightmares.
That would. I'm trying to think if we've. Oh, God, I'm trying to remember back in university if we did that or not.
I think we did with Mike, but it was I think it was just him underperforming or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the kid. Yeah, we saw him. Oh wait, no, not forget what I'm saying. No, I can't. I don't want to.
I haven't seen University in a minute, so.
If anyone, it might have been Mike with a nightmare. That's the only nightmare we would have had. That's assuming it even happened, which I don't want to say anything. 100% on that. Okay. So, I mean, I think we covered the gamut, guys. I think we pulled a strike on this one.
Yeah, I think so.
Did we knock all the pins down?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's about it then, guys. That'll do it for us this week as we holster our remotes till the next installment calls for the draw. Mono y mano. Just Plus and Us.
Gary.
What are you doing? Did you forget the first rule?